Okay, let me go to the final part before I start getting the questions. The guide on starting life in US and how to succeed. But this guide can be also for people in Europe or Canada and Australia. When you have already made a decision that I'll be staying here on a permanent or I'll be going to back home, you have made a decision on what type of visa you have, whether it's immigrant or non-immigrant. If you have non-immigrant, obviously you have to find a way first of all to become an immigrant if you want to stay here on a permanent basis. Then you have made a decision on the career choices, what type of education, training, certifications, or jobs and business you want to do. And also, it comes to the last piece on the money management, finances, retirement. That is the big piece of how to succeed or the guide. Remember, majority of people who are coming to Western life as immigrants, majority, are already above the age of 30. Majority. When I came to the US, I was the age of 26, almost going to 27. But it used to be, according to the US statistics, it used to be the people who are coming to America, the average was 28. But now is 35, the average age. So the age of immigrants, people are going to Canada, for instance, because of the express entry process, people already have bachelor degree or have masters, have couple years of experience. So the immigrants is going up. The level of immigrants, the age is going up. So when you are coming here, let's say you are 28, you are 30, 35, 40. If you are coming at that age, remember there are so many things you are already forgotten, or you are out of touch, or you have to start from zero here. So you have to go in very high speed, but speed with caution. Especially on the finances, on money, retirement plans. So let's say, in a normal way, you came to the United States at the age of 30. Remember, in the US, someone at the age of 16 is already allowed to start working in a professional setting, but the father or mother, parents must make the signing approval. So that is something you need to know. So someone who is 15 or 16 years old has a good credit score. Someone already in the here in America, a parent have a tendency of adding a child in what we call just the authorized user of the credit card. A child is about reaches 16, a parent is going to apply another credit card for the child, and the parent is on that card so that can make sure the child has a very good credit. I will explain a little bit about what is credit and why is it important. In the US, it's different from Africa. In Africa, if I want to borrow money, I go to borrow money from my friend. I can borrow from person A, I can go to person B, person C, to my mother, to my relative, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But if I don't pay that money on time, those friends will start talking one another. There will be a word rotating around the street that if you lend money to Mr. A or Mrs. C, they will never pay you back. So you'll be having a bad reputation. You will not be a reliable. You will not be a trustworthy person. So for that particular case, if you go to borrow money from any of your friends, they will never give you any money. So that is how you burn your trust. But in America, we don't go to borrow money from friends. So we go to borrow money from banks. So banks, they have different ways, or financial institutions. There is the first financial way, which you borrow the money as actual money, as a loan, but there is another way you get credit. The credit is just credit card. So it's just like most of the people, like the bank you have the card like this one. These cards are just a bank card. Over there, they are debit cards. That means you put the money in your bank is inside here. But credit card is the bank is giving you the money, which is not your money, just like a loan, but in the card, preloaded, the card has money. So that money, you have a limit. The maximum, they will tell you maybe you can use 500 or you can use 5,000, we call the credit limit. That credit limit don't go over the limit, obviously. So, and they'll tell you, you have maybe 5,000 in this card. If you are using this card, whether you use all of the money one day or you use it slowly, we want you the repayment plan. Maybe you'll be having 10% annual interest rate. But what we want is each month, on the monthly payment, if you have used our card, the monthly payment will be maybe $20 or $50 or $30, depending on what they decided on your credit card. So people, because you came here, that number, there are certain things they are looking at that number on the credit card to determine the score. One, do you pay back what you agreed on time? That's number one. If you don't pay on time, the friends are telling one another, there is a number the bank is going to report, this person didn't pay on time. There is a credit bureau. So if you go to borrow to another bank, they will tell you, oh, this person doesn't pay back. Number two, they are looking, how do you use the money? You have to know how to use the money. The behavior we have in our countries, when you get the salary, you finish all the salary on the first 10 days, it will not help you here. Because if you have a credit card, you have 5,000 and you use all the 5,000, that means they know you are risky. Don't ever use, if you have a credit card, more than a half of what you have, more than 50%. Don't reach 50% of the total amount. Because if you use more, they know you are not trustworthy. You are risky to use the money. So use less. So some people, they have credit card for the purpose of building credit score. So because you are late in America, you are 30 years old, your credit is zero, you have the worst credit in history of America. So you cannot be reliable. So you have to build the credit. So to build the credit, get a credit card, use maybe 10% or 15%, but pay on time and pay more than what you were supposed to pay. If your monthly pay is $25, pay $26, pay $30. Add even $2 on that, because the computer will determine that you are paying above the minimum requirement. You have to find a way to beat the system very, very early. So you have to know how to use the credit very, very early, because you are already late. Because in the end, if you have chosen to stay here for a longer time or even for the rest of your life, you have to buy a car at one point. Not this just used car of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 car. You are talking about you have a family here. You have to buy a brand new car, $50,000, $70,000 on loan. How are you going to get the auto loan car, $20,000, brand new car, $30,000? You have to get a loan. To get a loan, they're going to look on your credit. So if you mess up your credit score, it will be practically difficult to get a very good car. And even if you get it, the rates will be so high. You cannot buy a house, because in order to buy a house, they are looking on the credit score. They're not looking whether you're black or white or Asian. They don't care about that. They're looking about the number, the score. If you supposed to pay the bill for the phone, the bills for the water, for the trash, for the internet, for your phone, rent you are paying, you don't pay on time, they are going to report. They keep reporting. So your credit is going to be bad. So don't ever, while you are here, the biggest part of the money management, it's okay to have, loan, to have whatever. Even if you are failing to pay, call the bank and talk to them on the payment plan. Don't say, oh, they're not going to do anything to me. Because the more you destroy, because you don't have your body credit already, since you came here because you are not in the system, and you are going to build, don't destroy that credit. Because to build it takes years. So you have to know the credit score so that you can be able to get a good car, vehicle down the road. To get a very good job, they are going to do a background check. And the background check also involve credit score check. Also, how are you going to buy a house down the road? How? You can't. Because in order to buy a house down the road, apart from you have the money, I want to show you, for those people, I want to show you one of the house here. So that you can be able to talk about. For those who are following me right now on the anything with the screen, will be able to see I'm showing the pictures of different homes. The first home, this one, this one is my home. This one is my home, where I live. In order for me to buy a home like this one, they didn't care about my color. They didn't care whether I have accent. They didn't care if I'm coming from Africa. What they cared, they are following things. What is your credit score? Do you have income right now? In the past year, 2 years, is your income stable to be able to pay our mortgage on monthly basis? And number 3, usual, it didn't apply to me, was, do you have a down payment? But for me, I was a veteran, so I didn't pay down payment. I will talk about that. So for that particular case, I got the house. You have to find different ways. As I've been saying, you can be able to look at what are the things are required. So when you come here very, very early, you have to know, if I want to buy a brand new car, what are the requirements? If I want to buy a brand new home, to buy a home or to build a new home, what are required? If I want to get a business loan, what are required? Because if you don't know all these kind of things, you will end up into the trap to be all the time be upset with white people. Oh, these white people, oh, they just, because I have accent, they don't want me to give a job. Because I have accent, or because I'm from Africa, they look at me, I'm black, because, don't find any excuses. When it comes to the economy, man, they look about the numbers first. They don't care about your race, your number. There is no in that form about what is your race in order to be given the loan. What is your credit score? Yes, it happens that most of the white people have good credit score because they talk with their children about money management very, very early on. If they have money, they find professionals on how to handle the money. Go even to the athletes. You'll find how many athletes who are broke, who get bankrupt, majority of them are black. Why? Because most of us Africans or black, we pretend we know everything. And especially the money, because you hold this $2, $10, $50, whatever while you are growing up, you think that you know how to use money. So while you are here, you have to be knowledgeable. Even if it's not, you can just read online. You can, if you want, you can go to talk to friends who are in the money business, not just because it's a friend. Find people who know about money management will help you. Someone professional, there are courses you can go and check on how can you buy. Even if you don't have want to plan to buy a house, you are here from the first week, you're international student. Just how do you buy a home in America? Ask your question, those questions. So that from very early on, you have the mindset, your brain is just, oh, one day I'll buy a home. You know, I don't need to mess up with a credit card. But there are some people that stay here for 5-10 years. They have never have credit card. Myself, I was the one. I didn't know about credit or credit card for the first 2 years. Or a year and a half, 2 years. Because first year I was just full enjoying American life with international students, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I was focusing more about getting scholarships. So I didn't focus on how to buy a house, how to get a new car, how to do this one. That was not a priority. I didn't know. When I came to do my master's now in San Diego, in California, my wife was, at the time we started dating, whatever, getting ready to get married, that is when she told, this is a credit card. How does that work? So I started learning more about that. So you have to get to know these things very, very early. Even if you are not planning to buy a house, know about how to buy a house, how to get a brand new car, how to start a business in America. Just know them. So that the time comes, you can make a decision. Because you cannot make a decision, you want to own the business. You have never thought to what it requires or what it takes to become a businessman in America. Because you can start a business like Forever Living in America. You cannot go to home and tell people about to buy Colgate. No, you can't. So you need to know what to do, online and offline lifestyle. Speaking of money management, which I talk about retirement, credit score, mortgage, all those kind of things, I'll also talk about a few other things which I know they'll be able to help you. Up to that moment, I believe people have gotten the understanding. These are the few things you need to pay attention to. I don't know whether there are few, almost an hour I've been talking. But these are the few things you need to pay attention as ingredient to be able to succeed. Obviously, there are things you have to avoid. You have to avoid any type of crime. You have to yourself to avoid things like drink and drive, do any type of drug, or just starting women abusing children, beating them like you are back in your home country in Tanzania. No, don't do that. Those are the things will be able to cost you so bad. So, and also, there are a few other things, they are not, but they are important to know about the cost of living in America. Because you might come with the mindset, man, I'm going to Chicago. Yes, you are going to Chicago, opera's in Chicago, but the life is very expensive. I'm going to LA. You are in LA, you are just enjoying. Okay, welcome to California, the greatest state on the planet. But are you able to go to the beach? Because you can be in San Diego, the beach is there, but because of the expensive, how the life expensive is, you might not